Hi, it's Steve and Joe from Freshagenda with our first weekly take for 2021, Steve. After a bit of a break.
Yeah. So this week, going to keep it fairly simple. We're going to look at the GDT event which occurred overnight.
Yeah, with a bit of detail.
And then we'll flip to a chart of the week, which Joe has done extensive preparation of. So GDT number 276 was stunning if you were a seller of butterfat. The fifth gain in this rally, which is very healthy, and then you can see there the stunning increases in fat prices, particularly AMF, which we'll talk more about.
They certainly stand out there, don't they?
Yeah. Cheddar's the only one not coming to the party then, because the last event we had a clean green, sweep
across the board. Yeah, not quite so positive this time.
Not quite. Cheddar just going sideways, some down. In the scheme of things, in the long-term history, we're still within that band that we've been in for about 4 years. So while we've had a good surge, it's brought us back up to the upper limits of average prices across.
So the interesting thing is that the max? Is it going to stay within that range, or is there going to be something in supply and demand that pushes through that?
Yeah, and do we have those conditions? So some of those things to explore, I guess, going forward. Chinese involvement this time was mixed. It was good. Let's not underestimate that. It was quite good, pretty strong across whole milk, skim, and AMF. Butter. And butter is certainly where there's they've been strongest in terms of percentage involvement. But when you look at, are we reaching the heights of those prices? When you look at the history of those winning prices in Chinese currency, we're just a little bit above averages we've seen in the last couple of years. So we're not in any sort of sensitive territory from that perspective. But when you look at some other background factors, then there's some interesting things. So we are seeing, and this is November data from material we subscribe to that comes out of China, and we develop a stocks to use out of these. So you see both powders are quite low. Yeah. Even though there's been a lot of down talking of whole milk powder, the potential for further whole milk powder volumes into 21, the stocks have actually gone back to the usual turnover. Yeah. On the right-hand side there at the bottom, skim milk powder stocks are quite tight by that reckoning.
Yeah, and we've still got that nice healthy gap between the cost of local product and the cost of imported product, which again provides a pretty good incentive for Chinese buyers.
It does, and thanks to the weakness of the US dollar, that's widened. And that's based on forward prices, so that's a fairly current look. So that's supportive. So, and looking at fats, where I guess the standard here is the demand for AMF, the highest starting demand for 6 rounds that we've seen in GDT and since this was tracked.
So it's almost literally off the charts there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Skim milk powder also stronger than average. The others, though, butter and whole milk, were, as you can see, close to average, but that's why we saw those strong gains. And then just stepping to the protein story, which was, I think, globally more significant, really, that you've seen since the start of 21, prices in all markets have risen, have firmed. And now with GDT, that's certainly the strongest, as you can see down the bottom there. The premium for New Zealand product over European and US product this time is stretched to near the highest that's been seen. And then just seeing how prices are splayed when you look at that forward price chart there.
Yeah.
But, still healthy gaps. But should, with the strength of the premium, does that pull up the others? Most likely. Because things tend to be geared towards GDT. It tends to be a bit of a lead. But
and interesting there that the futures really didn't pick this latest rise. So
no, that's right. Anyway, the other thing on fat is this, really AMF has caught up, hasn't it? It's coming back to
the fat equivalent price,
coming back to term. So it's still below water in terms of that average, but you'd expect with, as they say, most AMF demand is expected to be in food service. So that's the sector that's most damaged. So we, as that continues to recover, that's a theory.
Yeah, absolutely. We love theories.
We thrive on them. And the last thing is the implication for New Zealand milk prices. So the spot value of this event based on current prices, current exchange rate in New Zealand dollar has weakened 1.5 cents since the last event. That's pushed the spot value above $7 New Zealand. And we've seen the New Zealand futures for this season rally as well towards the end. So Kiwi farmers will be taking some good news out of this event.
Yeah, all pretty positive there.
Happy joy. So, Jo, your chart of the week.
Yeah, chart of the week. There's a bit going on in the US at the moment, today in fact. But we just thought we'd have a bit of a look at cheese disappearance over the last few months. And the numbers for November were slightly down, like 0.2, 0.3 down for the month. But what's interesting is that widening gap between what's happening in American cheese and what's happening in other cheese, which includes mozzarella. So, and how that is reflective of some of these government programs that have rolled out over the last 6 months or so.
So that's a bit of a proxy for retail and food service.
That's right.
With quite a bit of that mozzarella going into
food service, yeah. So that's the orange line on the down, but with those food programs really helping to hold up that American cheese demand.
But overall, as the chart on the right, cheese demand is flattened out.
Yeah.
And I guess the interesting thing there is the food programs are included in those numbers. So while we see those gains in third quarter in particular, where those green bars are, was when some of those volumes were moving.
We're actually moving through the system, yeah.
So without the food programs, there would be red bars.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is a bit of a, when you look forward through the first quarter, where there'll be some volumes going in, and it's debatable just how much will come out of tradable cheese, the products that we see on the exchange.
So that's just the Biden administration has announced another round of purchasing, but the details aren't.
I guess what we've done, like everyone else, you have a go at what does it mean for volumes? What do we expect to see the makeup? This time it's a little more prescriptive about what's got to be in the boxes. So is A list and B list, and it's got milk, but it's also got 5 to 6 pounds of dairy products. Yeah. And certainly cheese is in there. So when you work back to the average cost of a box, and then the constituent products, there's still quite a bit of discretion as to what can actually be in there. Yeah. So while there's all sorts of cheese varieties mentioned as being possible, a bag of grated cheese, grated mozzarella, or block of cheddar is most likely to be in most of those boxes. So it will help. It'll buy an estimated 2% of milk. Yeah. The growth in milk over this quarter. Not insignificant. No, but in terms of cheese, and the cheese market has come back to earth a little bit. It has, yeah. I guess as some of this is sinking in, perhaps, and the reality of how much milk is floating around the US, gurgling around the US as well. So, yeah, that's a more sobering outlook for the US market. That's right. Right. Well, I think that's it for us. So we'll keep doing these. Thanks for watching. We'll probably be back next week. So much to talk about. There is.